So we've seen a lot of walk-off home runs and a lot of walk-off base hits and everything like that, but very rarely do we get a walk-off web gem, and that's what we saw in yesterday's Nebraska Little League game. So the kid out in right field makes a diving catch to secure his team a trip to the Little League World Series. What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. A lot of you have been requesting some Little League highlights, so there you go. I wanted to show a walk-off web gem, but we have a lot to talk about today. Trevor Bauer is speaking out. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We have two different walk-offs. One of them came from Brad Hand, who might be the worst relief pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball, and just a lot to get into today. Now, before we get into the Trevor Bauer drama and all of the other things that we have to talk about, let's go ahead and deep dive into the walk-off victories from yesterday. If you're a Blue Jays fan, I would recommend plugging your ears and closing your eyes because they were facing off against the Mariners, and Mitch Haniger, who has 26 home runs, showed off the leather yesterday, robbing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of at least a double. I don't think this was going to be a home run. Tom Murphy in his career has an 830 OPS versus left-handed pitchers, so he takes advantage of that and hits a two-run shot off Robbie Ray. Chris Flexen, his gem was ruined by Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Robbie Ray ends up going 7 innings with 8 strikeouts, and a huge double play kind of saves the game for Seattle. Ty France throws a seed to the catcher and they turn it, and Jared Kelenic has a walk-off walk versus Brad Hand. Pretty much Brad Hand can be summed up in this clip right here.
You're what the French call les incompetents.
I love Home Alone, and every chance I get to reference it, I will take that opportunity every single time. So Jared Kelenic now has a .333 on base percentage over his last 14 games. The Mariners are on a 3-game winning streak. They're still 4.5 games back with the wild card, so it is going to take a miracle. But the Mariners, I like them. They're kind of America's team right now. Let's go ahead and stay with the walk-off victories. This was the final one from yesterday. We had the Diamondbacks versus the Padres. Dalton Varsho showed up yesterday. He drives in an RBI in the second, and we'll come back to him later on in the game. You have Ketel Marte blasting his first home run in 2 months as Blake Snell and Madison Bumgarner. They both go 5+ innings with 2 earned runs and 6 strikeouts. So those 2 earned runs off Mad Bum came off the swing of Will Myers, but then the Arizona bullpen, as well as Dalton Varsho, I told you guys he came up big time yesterday. He delivers with a walk-off home run. The Padres are sent to a 3-game losing streak. They're still 2.5 games ahead of the wild card, but if they don't pick it up sometime soon, they might get passed up. Two teams that are definitely not going to get passed up unless something catastrophic happens, the Giants and the Dodgers. Let's talk about their games yesterday. San Francisco, they were facing the Rockies yesterday, and if you've ever played MLB The Show, you know that Wilmer Flores is a cheat code versus left-handed pitchers. He is just not fair. So he hits a home run, and then Thairo Estrada, or Thairo, I think it's Thairo actually, he drives an RBI and raises his batting average to 300 with a 118 OPS plus ever since he got traded from the Yankees. Darren Ruff singles in a big-time insurance run in the second because San Francisco was held scoreless the rest of the game. Connor Joe rips a 2-run shot, and the Rockies almost steal a victory on a little comeback, but Littell, he saves it, and the Giants have now won 6 games in a row. They're just ahead of the Dodgers, who also won in a narrow game yesterday. You have Corey Seager roping an RBI double early, and then 2 different sacrifice flies put LA up 3-0. And Julio Urias has been really good this year. 5 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed. Now the Mets, I do have to tip my cap. They show some dog, they come back to tie it up, and then all of a sudden the Mets fans wanted to get in on the action as well. Someone in the stands, where I don't even know if we know who it is, had a laser pointer and they were shining it directly in the eyes of Max Muncy. Now, he wasn't hitting, so I'm not sure if it really mattered all that much because Max Muncy, he eventually struck out, but let's not bring laser pointers into the game. Thank you very much. Will Smith always seems to deliver in the clutch. It is almost comedy at this point because he gets the job done pretty much every single time. Kenley Jansen comes in and nails it down in the 10th, and the Mets, they fall to a half game back of first place, but there are 3 teams going for first place in the NL East. We'll talk about the other ones in just a moment because now let's talk about Trevor Bauer. So real quick, I want to make sure that I get this out there that these are allegations. I want to make sure that I cover myself because if I say anything wrong, I could be in trouble. But the Washington Post came out with an article pretty much saying that Trevor Bauer and another person not the same person that was involved in an incident a few months ago. This is a completely different story. So Trevor Bauer actually came out for the first time and spoke against this article, pretty much explaining that the Washington Post has been reaching out to all of his friends and trying to get as much information as possible, and that this person is trying to extort Trevor Bauer. So that's the update. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with this second allegation, because the first one, his paid leave was extended until August 14th, which is today. Now he has the first one to worry about on top of this second one. And I honestly don't know if Trevor Bauer is going to pitch in 2021. So that is the update on Trevor Bauer. If you want more information, it is all on Twitter. Now it is pretty graphic, so there's your warning. All right, let's talk about those teams that are going for first place in the NL East. Aside from the New York Mets, we have the Braves and the Phillies, and only one of them got a W yesterday. So we have Juan Soto driving an RBI early against the Atlanta Braves, and can I just say, over Juan Soto's last 152 games, he has an almost 320 batting average with 32 home runs, 12 stolen bases, and a 460 on base percentage. Guys, what even is Juan Soto? He makes no sense. He's not even 23 years old yet. All right, let's get back to the game. Josiah Gray was dealing for the Nationals until Travis d'Arnaud and Ozzie Albies, they changed that, and Charlie Morton for the Braves. He was very good. 6 innings with 7 strikeouts, only 2 earned runs allowed, as the comeback kids do it yet again. Austin Riley and Dansby Swanson, they smashed 2 home runs. So Atlanta is now tied for Philly for first place because the Phillies lost to the Reds yesterday. Castellanos, he was not happy. He has been hit 3 different times over the last 3 games. This sets up Joey Votto, and he does it. 15 home runs over Joey Votto's last 22 games. That ties a Reds franchise record. His reaction was priceless. He was kind of pointing to himself and getting the crowd hyped up. I think Joey Votto is such a positive for the game of baseball. His second half is ridiculous. With a 240 OPS plus, he is nearing 70 WAR at 37 years old and an MVP. It's going to be Fernando Tatis Jr., Joey Votto, and Bryce Harper going for those first place votes. Nick Castellanos adds a home run in the 6th, and Tyler Mahle throws 7 shutout innings, does not allow a single walk, and has 7 strikeouts. And Suarez is having one of the weirdest seasons I've ever seen. 23 home runs, 65 RBIs is elite, but he has a negative 2.3 WAR and a 60 OPS plus. Regardless, the Reds have been playing very well, and they're only 2.5 games back of second place for the wild card spot. Let's talk about a few AL West teams, shall we? We have the Rangers facing off against the A's. This is a must-win game for the A's, in my opinion, because the Astros have been streaking as well. Texas, they score 3 in the first inning, and then they can't muster up anything until rookie Yoel Pozo hits a home run in the 6th. That he had his first career hit yesterday and his first career home run after bashing 19 home runs in 60 AAA games, so he was a machine this year. This next home run made me very happy because DJ Peters, he was struggling with the LA Dodgers, but he has a 450-foot moonshot to his resume now, and Barlow gets his first save. This was a bad time for the Oakland A's to lose a game because Houston, they won yesterday against the Angels, pretty much courtesy of Kyle Tucker. On one swing, he drives in 4 RBIs. His 22nd home run is a grand slam, so he has 71 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, a 132 OPS plus, and a 3.5 WAR. I mean, I know he's not Shohei Ohtani, but those are MVP numbers in my opinion. Zach Greinke, man, this guy continues to add to his Hall of Fame resume. 7 shutout innings with 0 walks on 7 strikeouts. He is getting close to 80 WAR for his career, so that would be a lock for the Hall of Fame. You have Ohtani driving in his 85th RBI, but it's not enough, even though the Angels bullpen was nails. Just their offense was horrific yesterday. Presley grabs his 19th save, and the Astros are now on a 3-game winning streak. Moving on over to the Red Sox, as well as the Rays. They both played yesterday. Now, the Boston Red Sox got lucky because they were playing the Orioles, the worst team in all of baseball. Cedric Mullins, knock on wood, is on a 20-game hitting streak, and that was it for the Orioles highlights. Schwarber takes a walk in his debut. Then you have Jarren Duran and Bobby Dahlbeck driving in 3, and Kike Hernandez makes it, I think it was 4-0 or 5-0 on a sacrifice fly. Jarren Duran doubles in Schwarber in the 3rd, and then Xander Bogaerts and Bobby Dahlbeck both go boom for Nick Pivetta, who goes 6 innings with 8 strikeouts, only allows 1 earned run. And Hunter Renfroe, I just have a feeling that he felt left out. He hits his 20th home run of the year. And I just want to mention Bobby Dahlbeck. He is hitting 370 over the last 2 weeks, and Chris Sale is coming back. So if Jarren Duran can get hot at the same time of Bobby Dahlbeck and they get Chris Sale back, I mean, that's basically a shot in the arm for Boston. And they're going to need it because the Rays offense has been unstoppable lately. Nelson Cruz, he returns to Minnesota. Now, before we show the rest of the highlights, I want to show this Best Buy ad from Nelson Cruz. It seemed like it was the deadline for him to get a post out, so he kind of points to a dinosaur insignia TV. I don't understand what that has to do with Best Buy, but either way, I thought that was funny. Randy Arozarena ropes an RBI double, and then you have Yandy Diaz and Mike Zunino making it 3-0. And Cruz, he hits his 5th home run as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been a tad underwhelming with a sub 800 OPS, but I think that he's going to be more than fine going forward. You have Mike Zunino hitting a home run, and then Kevin Kiermaier hits an inside the park home run. He shows off the wheels. The Rays hit 2 more singles and grab a sacrifice fly to make it 10 runs. And it seems like the Rays are scoring 10 runs every single game. I think they have 8+ runs in 8 consecutive games. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Moving on over to another high-scoring game, the Marlins versus the Cubs. You have Jesus Luzardo with nasty stuff, but he just can't seem to put it together. He gives up 4 earned runs before the second ends, and then Brian De La Cruz hits a grand slam. He looks like a 4 to 5 tool superstar in the making. I absolutely love his makeup. Lewis Brinson keeps it moving, and then you have Alex Jackson and Jesus Aguilar adding to an 11-run inning, which ties a Marlins franchise record for most runs scored in a single inning. Then the Cubs go off to make it close. I'll put that in air quotations. I just feel terrible for Cubs fans because that team is an abomination. Moving on over to the Tigers versus Cleveland. The Tigers played an abominable game yesterday. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. And it was in front of a packed house because everyone is trying to see Miguel Cabrera hit home run number 500. He is currently sitting at 499. But they got to see 2022 AL MVP Ernie Clement do his thing with his first career home run. Obviously, I'm joking about the 2022 AL MVP thing. Ahmed Rosario hits an RBI in the 3rd, and then Yu Chang triples in another as Cleveland grabs yet another run off a sacrifice fly from Austin Hedges. Now, I do want to show this missile, a 440-foot line drive home run from Eric Haas, but that was kind of it for Detroit as Yu Chang hits a home run, and then Ernie Clement does it again. His first 2 career home runs come in that same game, and Zach Plesac had 9 strikeouts in just under 8 innings. Now, we do have to talk about James Karinchak because he has not been the same guy without the sticky stuff. Look at this tweet that I put out over on my Twitter, and also look at how far his RPM dropped after they banned the sticky stuff. His curveball, it's kind of getting back to normal, but that fastball dropped 300 RPM. So his fastball is not rising like it used to, so he is very hittable as of late, and his strikeouts are way down. And then last but not least, Jack Flaherty is back. One of my favorite players in all of baseball. He racks up a few strikeouts right before Nolan Arenado and Tyler O'Neill team up to hit back-to-back home runs, and Yadier Molina is still elite as a defensive catcher. I think at this moment, he's throwing out almost 40% of players trying to steal a base, which is easily number 1 in all of baseball. Jack Flaherty goes 6 shutout innings with 2 hits, 0 walks on 5 strikeouts. Then offensively, Yadier Molina and Paul DeJong make it 5-0. And Lars Nootbaar, I love saying that name, hits a home run in 2 consecutive games. The Cardinals, out of nowhere, are on a 4-game winning streak. And even though they've won 4 games in a row, they're still essentially 6 spots back of 2nd place in the wild card. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. There is not going to be a This Day in MLB History because I am feeling lazy. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.